Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. So this is me this morning decided to, just clean my house manager's room. I've always wanted to clean each and every room in the house. So I've been doing it like in bits. So today I'm in my house manager's room. This is my house manager's room. So this is where they sleep each night, and there are two. I have two house managers, but the room has a double decker and one single bed. And yeah, normally they sleep on two beds, and the other bed is just for a visitor. Like maybe if a visitor comes in, like when someone is there for a sleepover, one of their friends, when they come for a sleepover, or maybe if my siblings come with their house managers, and maybe you see they need to spend time together, that's where they all sleep. So here I am today, just trying to do their beds and put together everything as I just keep myself busy because the weekend is just starting and I'm trying to keep myself busy. I have an engagement in the afternoon, so I was trying to do this very fast so that I just finish up and go and go on with my engagement. So as I do this, okay, let me say, I needed to tell you a story like of on the day, like about how I knew, like the way my mom's the way the news about my mom's death was broken to me very many years ago. I was in school. I had just joined Form 1. And yeah, I had just joined Form 1. So that I remember that day, we had this messenger that used to come to this messenger used to come to classes. Whenever we saw her, we had nicknamed her the angel of death, because whenever you saw her coming to your class, she never used to come to class to bring any other news other than bad news. You see, if maybe you've lost someone, she's the one who used to come. I think she was actually not really the messenger, she was the principal's PA. So uh, during that time, that was like 26 or 27 years ago. It was such a long time. I was in boarding school. So we saw this messenger coming to class. And then when she got to class, she got to our class and said, I need to see, where is Beryl? So everyone looked at me and they pointed at me. And then I was like, no, 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 no. I didn't want to believe that it was me who was being summoned. So we had another burial in a different stream. So I told her, no, there's another burial in Form 1 East. And she was like, I'm looking for Burial Tindi. And then I just had to go. So we were walking towards, our class was down the hill. So as we were walking up the hill towards the principal's office, a lot of things were going through my mind. I was trying to figure out, okay, now who has died? Like what has happened? And then when we got near the principal's office, I saw my dad's car parked outside there, and then I saw my sister, my elder sister. My elder sister was there, and she was seated in the car, inside the car, and I waved at her, but the the messenger, the PA, didn't want me to engage my sister any further. So she just took me straight to the principal's office. So when you go to the principal's office, I found my dad in there together with his best friend. He had this best friend whom we had really grown fond of. So he was there with his best friend, and I got into the principal's office, and the principal told me, "Hey, you see, your dad is here. He's come to pick you. Your mom has not been feeling so well, but now you need to go home, and she needs to see you." 2 weeks before that, I think a week before that, a week or something, or 2 weeks, it was visiting day, and my mom didn't show up for visiting day, which was very unusual. She never missed any of these days. So, and but her sister came, her sisters came, actually two of her sisters came and told me, you know what, mom is not feeling so well, but we are here to represent her, and blah 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 blah. So when I was told that she was feeling a little bit better, and she wanted to see us, I was so excited. I was like, okay. But at the back of your mind, like no one will be given permission to go and see their parent because their parent is feeling much better. But there's something at the back of there's something in your subconscious mind telling you, you know what, she's alive. She just wants to see you. So we went there. We went, and then okay, the principal told me to go to the hostel and pack uh, whatever I needed to pack to head home. But I didn't want to pack anything. I was so eager to get home. Like I was so eager to know why we were going back home. So I I went to the car and got my sister, and then we traveled home. I used to school in back in the village in Siaya County, but we lived in Eldoret. So we started our journey back to Eldoret. The drive was long. You can imagine you're there seated from Siaya to Eldoret, and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to find back home? So I so when we got we're on our way, on our way, we were talking with my sister. We were trying to figure out what it was, and then my sister and I at some point I remember I told my sister, what if we get home and find that we've lost mom? And my sister was like, no, 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 mom can't just die on us like that. And then we just talked, and we were talking and sleeping and waking up. It's quite a distance. But when we got back, I remember we asked getting home to Eldoret, and around maybe it was around evening, around 5 or thereabout. So as we were driving into the compound, as we were just driving in at the gate, we saw our younger sisters and brothers playing all over the compound and everything. And in my heart, I was telling myself, if my mom had died, these young ones wouldn't be playing all over here. Like, who would play when their mom is dead? Nobody. So when we saw them playing there and jumping and singing and everything, my heart calmed down, and I told myself, oh, my mom is still alive in that case. And then as we drove like towards the house, on the left of the gate, I saw a big tent. There was a big tent with seats inside. And then I did not connect that tent to anything. But I was like, I don't know. For some reason, I didn't connect the tent to anything. And then the car stopped and we walked towards the house. So when I was walking towards the house, right at the front of the house, the entrance of the house, the front door, there were seats lined up, plastic seats lined up just outside the door. Oh, and the door was wide open. And I was still confused. We were there with my sister walking in, trying to figure out what exactly is happening. And then we went, and then we got into the house. I remember walking into the house and finding my aunties and uncles that I had not seen in a while. My grandparents were there. My mom's mom was there. Everyone was there sitting in the living room. And then for some reason, I didn't even say hi. When I walked into the house, I went straight into the kitchen, of course, to look for my mom. I was looking for my mom because I walked into the living room and everyone was seated there and my mom wasn't there. So I walked out of the living room, went to the kitchen, my mom was not there. I went to her bedroom, she was not there. I went to the toilet, the bathroom, she was not there. I went to our bedroom, the girls' bedroom, she was not there. I went to the boys' bedroom, she was not there. Then I decided, okay, let me go to the veranda, because most of the time when she was sick, we used to put a mattress at the veranda, and then she would just sit there and bask in the sun. So as I was walking towards the veranda, I had to pass through the living room. So I was passing through the living room. My mom's mom, my grandma, called me and she was like, Beryl, are you looking for mommy? I said, yes, I'm looking for mom. Then she pointed and told me, here she is. And she pointed at her photo, which was placed on top of the coffee table. I looked at the photo and I looked at my grandma and I was like, are we together? I was trying to figure out, I just told you I'm looking for my mom and you're showing me her photo. And then it hit me like, okay, she's gone. Immediately, I walked out of that living room. My aunties came for me and, they were hugging me and telling me it's okay. I started crying. I was crying. And then one of my aunties was like, hey, Beryl, have some tea. Another one's telling me, you know what, God has a better reason why he had to take your mommy. She was suffering, she was in pain, she's now at a better place, and blah, blah, blah. Those things feel like noise next to your ears when you just lost your mom. But there was this aunt who was just right next to me with very hot tea, like this. It was steaming. I'll never forget that. It was steaming hot, and she had two slices of bread. And then she was like, take this tea, take this tea. I'm like, who would want to take very hot tea after getting news about their mom's death? I was like, you guys should just let me be. I'm trying to digest everything. About my mom's death, and you're here giving me hot tea. Ow! And then I was like, okay, Okay, and I tried to take the tea. It was hot. It was too hot for me, so I just left the tea there and sat there for a while. I sat there for about, I think, about like 30 to 45 minutes, just trying to figure out what was happening. Like I'm trying to digest. And I sat in the kitchen, by the way. I didn't go back to the living room. I didn't go anywhere. I sat in the kitchen for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then after that, I walked to my mom's room. I just sat on her bed and then checked her handbags. You know, a lot of times she used to put sweets or other goodies in her handbag. So anytime you would do something nice, or she would just, and then she was someone who really loved snacking. So we were always snacking in that house, like always. There was always sweets, cakes, chocolates, biscuits, ice cream, name it. So I sat in her room for a little while, then just walked out, and then I decided, okay, let me go outside and play. So I went out to play. We went out to play. Then I went out to play with my friends were out there. Now it was about around going to 7 or thereabout. It was starting to get dark, and we went out and played with my friends. We played until it was dark. I think we played until around 9 p.m. and no one came to call us. You know, the way my mom used to call us by 7, when it was starting to get dark, we were always supposed to be back to the house. But now my mom was dead. No one wanted to call their children to go back to the house because they were playing with us. You know, the way neighbors' children are playing with you outside there, and you as the neighbor, you don't want to tell your children to get back to the house and leave us out there by ourselves. So we were playing, we played, and then when it got to 9 p.m., we went back to the house, and then we ate dinner. And after eating dinner, I just didn't want to sleep in that house. For some reason, I didn't want to sleep in that house. I wanted to go and sleep in the neighbor's house. And then my dad released us to go and sleep in the neighbor's house. It was much better in the neighbor's house, trust me, because in our culture, when someone dies, like people will be singing, the church will be there like through the night, and anytime another visitor would come in, they would start screaming all over again. So that compound was just full of screaming. Like someone would walk in, starts wailing and everything. I don't know, you're just looking at, it was, but I can't say like it was traumatizing or something. It was blank. Like I couldn't just picture what was happening. I was trying to figure out, but anyway, I just did not want to think about it and everything. So I went and spent the night at the neighbor's house. And then after we spent the night at the neighbor's house, the next day, my dad asked us to go and see our mom in the morgue. So we were told to go and see our mom in the morgue because my dad wanted us to go back to school. Of course, yeah, we were in boarding school. I had mentioned that. My dad wanted us to go back to school. So he took us, and then I said no. My other siblings went. Okay, I had other siblings who were also in boarding school who had been picked. And then my other siblings went to see my mom, but I just couldn't get that strength to go and see my mom. So I didn't go. I didn't go to see my mom. I stayed back at home. So I was back at home. My siblings and my dad went. We went there. So as I was sitting there, I was sitting there with some of my relatives who had stayed back. And they were trying to tell me, you know what? Mom is resting. She's resting right now. She was in so much pain. She had a hole in her heart, and, it was causing a lot of complications. She was always in a lot of pain, but right now she's resting, and we should be happy that she's resting. We should not let all that stress us out. I was just looking at them and like, I remember at some point I was asking them, what if your mom dies right now? And I start telling you that. Will it make things any better? Because all that they were telling me wasn't making things any better. I was just like, no, let me just cry. Let me let it out. And then, we'll move on from here. So that's how that's how I got the news of my mom's death. And then the next day, after my siblings came back from the morgue, my dad told us to get ready because the following day he was taking us back to school. But before I went back to school, I remember that day when my siblings went to my other siblings who had not seen my mom in the morgue, went to see her in the morgue. My elder brother was home. He did not go because he had gone to the morgue severally, our firstborn. So he told me, let's go and pick mom's stuff from her shop. My mom had a tailoring shop. It was called Mama Rose Tailoring College. So she used to train other people on tailoring and everything. So I went with my brother there. We went, and then we were trying to carry her stuff that was at the shop back home. I remember I carried her curtains for that shop. I carried the curtains, and I was walking from the shop. Our shop was a walking distance from our house. So I was walking towards our house, and I was crying. I was crying, and I had carried all those curtains, and it was bad. So as I was walking back home, along the way, there was this mom. I can't forget her name. We used to call her Kadogo. Kadogo used to sell vegetable, I think, at somewhere. And Kadogo was always talking about my mom, always talking ill about my mom. And my mom didn't like it. And we already knew, like, she was always talking ill about my mom and everything. And then, so, of course, when my mom was alive, she was always talking ill about her, about, why we used to live with our mom by ourselves. And, my dad was working in Nairobi. No way he was going to live with that. But, according to Kadogo, my parents had issues. That's why they were not living together. But that was not the case. And even if it was the case, it was none of her business, really. So when I was passing by Kadogo's kibanda, I just remembered how much she made my mom cry. A lot of time, my mom used to listen to what Kadogo had said, and she would just cry and let it go and blah blah blah. I went to Kadogo. I hit Kadogo using those curtains. I hit Kadogo using those curtains. I was just throwing the curtains at her, throwing the curtain down. I was asking her, "Are you happy now? Are you happy now? My mom is dead. Are you happy now?" Some people came and just pulled me away from Kadogo, but I felt some kind of relief. Like, you know what? You are not my mom's friend. So, and what made me go to Kadogo? She was like, when I was passing by there, she was like, "Ndio huyo mtoto wa macho ine anapita, ule macho ine mwenye aliaga." Oh, that's what made me go to her. And she was alerting people, like, my mom's daughter was passing. There I was passing, yeah? And my mom had passed on. I decided, no. You're not going to talk ill about my mom, then talk about me as I pass here. That's why I went to hit her with the curtains. But I felt some kind of relief after hitting Kadogo with those curtains. Anyway, the next day we prepared and we went back to the school. Anyway, here I have finished doing all my house manager's bedroom. It's clean, very much clean. Everything is nice. And they were relaxing at the lounge. We have this lounge that we've not yet furnished. They were watching TV there. I went and gave them some nice presents, some nice gifts. I had bought them some nice perfumes. And so there they are with their perfumes, and their room is mwah. Bye-bye.